G'day guys, welcome to the round 3 preview on My Blue Heaven. I'm here to run an eye over our big clash coming up against the Hawks this Sunday afternoon at the MCG, 1:10 start, our first day game of season 2022 and the second time both these teams have played at the G so far this season. Once fierce rivals throughout the 1980s, once co-tenants for a long time at Princes Park. It certainly hasn't been the case in this century. They've really owned us, the Hawthorn Football Club. Although we did get them last year at the G, before that, they've been an absolute powerhouse, although they certainly have fallen away over the last 5 or 6 years. But they do appear this season to have a new lease of life under their new coach, Sam Mitchell. And there are similarities. Obviously, we have a new coach with Michael Voss, and both clubs have a new lease of life and new game plans as well. We want to be a lot more defensively stronger from a team defence point of view, and the Hawks want to score a little bit more freely. Alistair Clarkson was just such a strong defensive coach, and it's almost like Sam Mitchell has just let the shackles off a little bit, although they have been particularly impressive behind the ball, Hawthorn as well, and well structured in the opening 2 games of the season. I'm going to be pretty blunt here after just spruiking all that bullshit. And maybe I'm going to sound cocky. Maybe I'm going to sound overconfident. I'm getting ahead of myself. But really, I don't give a shit. We're winning this game of football. And I fully expect us to win it. And I think potentially we can do a lot of damage in this game to Hawthorn. I understand the notion that we can't take this game lightly. But I don't understand that fans, and you can think anything you like, that fans think we're going to get ahead of ourselves. I'm not talking about supporters. I'm talking about the football club, the players, and particularly the coaches, and just everything about the football club. I really don't think that's going to be the case. Now, I fully expect that we're going to experience some lulls this year, and that's just part of a long season and a journey. But I truly think we've found the right formula and the right mix from a coaching point of view. And there's far too much wise and experienced heads behind the scenes, and I'm talking from a coaching point of view here, to let this group start to drink their own bathwater. Us fans, we can do what we like. Okay, we can do what we like. We can think what we like. And imagine if the coach and the players came out and spoke like I'm speaking now. I just think right here, right now, it's not going to happen. We're in such good form at the moment, and we've built such confidence at the moment. I haven't seen any signs to suggest there will be a lull. But there will be a lull at some stage. It's just not going to happen against Hawthorn. It's not. And I can understand again that they've been in okay form. They're sitting on top of the ladder. They're 2-0, and it shapes to be an exciting game between 2 teams that want to be on the rise. But we are at different stages. Let's face it, we are at different stages. And I know it might sound biased, but you know that I'm not biased, okay? I'm anything but biased. I like to see us and look at us from an opposition point of view. We have a better list, and we are stronger all over the field, on every line. That's not to say that Hawthorn won't put up a fight. That won't to say that Hawthorn won't, at certain stages of the game, kick goals and look exciting and do some good things. I just think that we're just far too, I hate the word to use, advanced, because where have we really come from? I just think we are stronger. We have such a deep midfield. And I think potentially up forward we can be really damaging, particularly if we can dominate the game like Port Adelaide did. Okay, on the weekend against Hawthorn, where they won every key indicator, they absolutely dominated, but could not put a score on the board. They were absolutely toothless going inside their forward 50. They dominated contested possession, centre clearances, clearances around the ground, disposals, inside 50s, but the Hawks still got the chocolates by 64 points. And full credit to them. They looked damaging on transition. Again, they were very efficient going inside forward 50. They kicked 19 goals, 6. Okay, but if you look at that midfield, and just look at that midfield alone. Just fucking look at it. You can't tell me, okay, and even if one of these guys doesn't have a super game, but they all, I've mentioned this and I'll mention it again. This is a safe midfield. This is a reliable midfield. I'm not looking at any of those blokes and thinking they're flighty, okay, they're going to be in, out, one out the next week, okay, they're just, to me, consistent footballers, and Cherry comes back into the football team this week after missing against the Bulldogs. Pitnet, TDK. Nice little combination going at the moment. Cripps, Chera, Walsh, Hewitt and Kennedy. And that's just the starting sort of mix. That doesn't throw in the likes of, okay, what we do across the centre, and throw in the likes of Fisher, who can go there in there as well. That's up against Rees, who I really like, big, tall, young ruckman. McAvoy, been around the traps, captain of the Hawthorn Football Club. Can be damaging, can be really, really reliable footballer. He can clunk a few if he goes forward. Tom Mitchell, okay, Brownlow medalist, but he's not the player he was. Let's face it, he's not the player he was. Either is Jago O'Meara. He destroyed us in 2019, Jago O'Meara, but he's not the player he was. We remember that game in Launceston in Tassie where he had 42 disposals after we led by 6 goals halfway through the second quarter. He destroyed us. It's not going to happen this time. Warple, still relatively young. Didn't have a great year last year. Still trying to find his way this year. Young Newcomb, picked up in the mid-season draft last year. Has a real dip, and they've got a couple of youngsters, including Ward, who I really, really like. But you can't expect a first-year player coming up against the strength of that midfield. So we will dominate that part of the game. And unlike Port Adelaide last week, we have a forward line which is looking particularly dangerous at the moment. And they're big guys. Our big guys found some form last week, and I'm not expecting both of those lads to kick 5 and 4 goals respectively each week. But what I am really confident is if they don't, and this is where I think we have the real edge over Hawthorn, is at ground level. In our front half, I think Durden and Owies can be particularly dangerous because I don't think Hawthorn are going to outmark us, or they shouldn't be when we get ball inside our forward half, which gives the opportunity for Durden, Fisher, and Owies to go to work. I don't know. I also look at that midfield group and the fact that Mitchell, O'Meara and Warple haven't kicked a goal so far this season. And a lot of our goals and a lot of our scoring has come through our midfielders, the likes of Cripps, Kennedy, and even Chera and Hewitt have hit the scoreboard this season. And that adds another, I suppose, dimension, and it makes us a lot more dynamic when our midfielders, can hit the scoreboard as well. And Hawthorn's midfielders haven't been able to do that at all. So when they go inside their forward 50, they are really relying on the likes of Mitch Lewis. And don't get me wrong, he's been super impressive, Mitch Lewis. And I wouldn't be, if I'm Jacob Wiedering, well, I think it's been a little bit down. I think it's just gone under the radar a little bit, but I just think Wieders has been a little bit down, and I want to see him have a big one against young Mitch Lewis. He's really their only focal point forward to centre, is that big marking forward. He can jump. He's a great contested mark, and it's just a dead-eye dick. So he doesn't need a lot of opportunities. But this is a big opportunity for Wieders to really stamp his authority on the game. Gunston's the one. He's come back in super form. He's such a class act. The matchup's an interesting one, who we go with. I don't know who it is. Is it a team defence on Jack Gunston? What I have noticed in the opening 2 games of the year is late in quarters, he will roll back as a 7th defender. And we know he's played that role in the past. He's a very, very smart player, moves exceptionally well, and he's your classic. So at one end of the ground, we have Jack Silvani, who's hard-working, can be creative, but we're going to witness one of the best hybrid forwards in the competition. And this bloke, I mean, if you talk about Bailey Fritsch, this bloke is the number one when he's up and going, and that's Jack Gunston. Now, I've got Luke Breust. He's a wily old veteran now. He's lost the yard in pace, kicked 3 goals against Port, missed round 1. And no Chad Wingard. I like Dylan Moore, hard-working, small forward. So who goes to him? I'm not quite sure as well. Is it Adam Sard? Is it a Chris? Is it a Newman? I was going to call him Chris Newman then. We're just going to have to wait and see. Is it a Zach Williams? I suppose there's a lot being said about Hawthorn and the fact that they've been able to be so efficient, in their front half. But the strength to me, and I mentioned our forward half, but the strength to me for Hawthorn is their transition from the back half. And one man in particular, and that's young Jive. He's an absolute weapon. His metres gained, his power. If he's winning 24 possessions like he did against North Melbourne, I'd be asking questions on what we're doing. We cannot allow this youngster to get his ball, in that part of the ground. He will absolutely destroy us. So what we do with him, how we somehow manufacture to keep him deep, we're just going to have to wait and see. And Sicily's the other one. I know they've got Denver, Granger, Barras, who I really like, but he's still only his 2nd year key defender. He's really tough. Doesn't win a lot of the ball, but he's really tough and quite safe. He'll probably get Harry. He might even get TDK. Frost will probably get one of those 2 as well. And I get a feeling Sicily might go to Charlie. And what a matchup that will be. What a matchup. And can Charlie keep him honest? We do not want James Sicily marking the ball in our forward 50, because if we talk about weapons, he's got a weapon by foot. And if he's able to take 6 or 7 intercept marks or win the ball at will down back, he can use it. And they've got really good users as well. Hardwick's a good user. Jack Scrimshaw's a good user as well by foot. So they can do some damage if we allow them to transition the ball from the back half. But look, I'm going to finish it up there. I really am. I'm so confident with this game. I'm so confident with this game that we'll get the job done. And it won't surprise me, as I mentioned right at the top of this, that we can do some serious fucking damage and stick it right up these bastards. Go Blues.